What if I told you your favorite childhood rhyme was never meant for children? Hey, diddle diddle the cat and the fiddle. It sounds innocent, whimsical, almost laughably nonsensical. But what if this playful verse was actually a coded message, a veil covering royal betrayal, death in childbirth, forbidden love, and a conspiracy that shook the throne of England? This isn't just poetry. It's prophecy, memory, and myth colliding in plain sight. And once you see the truth behind the rhyme, you'll never hear it the same way again. For centuries, we've passed these verses along without question, singing them to babies, painting them on nursery walls. But hidden beneath the surface of Hey Diddle Diddle is a dark history that threads through medieval star maps, Catholic martyrs, courtly scandals, and secret affairs inside the very heart of the Tudor dynasty. This video isn't just about a rhyme. It's about a queen exiled and broken, a princess imprisoned for love, and a people who used coded tavern signs and public games to speak truths they couldn't say out loud. If you think nursery rhymes are harmless, think again. Because sometimes the dead whisper through rhymes, and only the brave dare listen. What if the key to planting crops wasn't held in almanacs, but in a nursery rhyme? It may sound like fantasy, but one compelling theory proposes that Hey Diddle Diddle is far from nonsense. It's an ancient celestial code. A calendar disguised as a children's song, passed down from peasant to peasant, farmer to farmer, through centuries of oral tradition. In a world where literacy was rare and books belonged only to the elite, how else could vital agricultural knowledge survive? Let's break it down. The cat. It's not just a mischievous feline, it's Leo, the lion-shaped constellation of summer. The fiddle. That's Lyra, the harp-shaped cluster of stars that lights up the northern sky. The cow jumping over the moon, that's Taurus, a winter constellation linked to planting seasons. The little dog, likely Canis Minor, a star group associated with winter's end. Even the dish and spoon are said to symbolize Ursa Major and Ursa Minor, the Big and Little Dipper's ancient tools for navigation and timekeeping. According to this theory, once a year, all these constellations appear close to the moon in the night sky. That rare celestial alignment signaled a crucial moment to farmers. Now is the time to sow your seeds. And how would an illiterate farmer remember that through rhythm, rhyme, and imagery? Just like today's kids memorize the alphabet through song, medieval villagers may have encoded vital timing cues into this oddly whimsical verse. Hey Diddle Diddle wasn't just a bedtime tune. It was a survival tool woven with astronomical cues, disguised as silly animals and playful antics. The theory is still debated, but the logic is stunning knowledge hidden in plain sight, protected by laughter and repetition. A rhyme that might have outlived dozens of monarchs' wars and famines simply by being catchy. It's a reminder of how brilliant, adaptable, and resourceful ordinary people once were. They looked to the stars, listened to the wind, and turned poetry into power. And suddenly the line, "The cow jumped over the moon," doesn't sound so ridiculous. It sounds like a celestial alarm clock ticking through time. Behind the nursery rhyme's whimsy may lie a tale of royal heartbreak so deep it fractured an empire. Some historians believe Hey Diddle Diddle isn't just celestial nonsense, it's political poetry. Encoded within its playful lines is a haunting chronicle of Queen Catherine of Aragon, the first wife of England's King Henry VIII, and the woman whose quiet suffering helped ignite the English Reformation. Picture this. It's the winter of 1518. Catherine is secluded in her dark, candle-lit chambers, surrounded by crucifixes and velvet tapestries, bracing for childbirth. But when the labor ends, it's with silence. A stillborn daughter. Another heartbreak in a long line of infant deaths. And for Catherine, This was her last chance to produce a male heir. Henry's disappointment curdled into obsession. He began to believe God was punishing him for marrying his brother's widow. And when the ambitious Anne Boleyn arrived at court, refusing to be his mistress unless crowned queen, the stage was set for betrayal. Catherine was stripped of her title, her marriage annulled, her only surviving daughter Mary torn from her arms, and Anne. She ran away with the spoon, a metaphor some believe for stealing both the king and the throne. Even the phrase "the cat and the fiddle" may have deeper resonance. Catherine, nicknamed La Fidèle, the faithful one, was mocked, diddled out of her crown. It was a game played with her fate, where loyalty meant exile and silence became her legacy. And the dish, the spoon, the little dog's laughter. Perhaps they represent the courtiers and rivals who watched amused as Catherine's world crumbled. Is this a stretch? Maybe. But it's not the only time history has buried truth beneath metaphor. In a society where speaking against the monarchy meant death, nursery rhymes may have been the perfect vessel to carry whispers of rebellion masked as children's songs. So when you hear "Hey Diddle Diddle," it might not be nonsense at all. It might be the echo of a queen's final prayer, a coded lament for lost power, betrayal, and a love that ended in silence. In that sense, the rhyme becomes more than verse. It becomes a haunting elegy in disguise. What if the line "the cat and the fiddle" wasn't innocent at all? What if it was a coded cry for a queen whose loyalty was her downfall? Many scholars and folklore enthusiasts believe that Catherine of Aragon, Henry VIII's first and most devout wife, may be the hidden muse behind the cat in the rhyme. She was known by the nickname Catherine la Fidèle, Catherine the Faithful. But faithfulness didn't save her. It condemned her to silence. After 23 years of marriage, Catherine was discarded. She had failed to produce a surviving male heir, and Henry, obsessed with dynastic legitimacy, looked elsewhere. Enter Anne Boleyn, a younger, ambitious courtier who would only accept a crown, not a mistress's role. Catherine was cast aside, banished from court, and separated from her only living child, Princess Mary. But she never stopped calling herself queen. Not once. Now imagine that nursery rhyme again, "The cat and the fiddle." What if the fiddle represents not an instrument, but the manipulation of court politics? A song Catherine was forced to dance to while her throne was stolen beneath her feet. In this reading, Catherine is the cat, faithful Claude, watching helplessly from the shadows as the dish. Henry runs away with the spoon, Anne Boleyn. It's not a child's rhyme, it's political allegory wrapped in whimsy. And what of the fiddle? Some point to the word's double meaning. Yes, it's a violin, but in British slang, to fiddle also means to cheat or deceive. Catherine was quite literally diddled, robbed of her crown, her marriage, her child, and her place in history. Yet traces of public sympathy survived. In the years following her exile, taverns mysteriously began popping up across England with a curious name, "The Cat and Fiddle." Coincidence, maybe. But to those loyal to Catherine, it may have been a quiet rebellion, a coded tribute to the rightful queen. This isn't just speculation. It's a reminder that history often whispers its truths in riddles, and sometimes the rhyme you sang as a child was written in mourning. The cat and the fiddle isn't nonsense. It's Catherine's silent scream disguised in melody. Now picture this, not a royal court, not a queen in exile, but a crowded 17th century English tavern. The air thick with smoke. The smell of roasted meat ale sloshing in wooden mugs, fiddles playing wildly in the corner. And in the dirt outside, a game. A stick, a lump of wood, a circle drawn in the dust. It's a game called Tip Cat, a favorite pastime in old English pubs. Players would strike a small piece of wood, the cat, into the air, and then whack it again with a larger stick. It's wild, rowdy, and full of cheers, And now listen again to the rhyme. Hey diddle diddle the cat and the fiddle the cow jumped over the moon. The little dog laughed to see such sport, and the dish ran away with the spoon. It starts to make sense, doesn't it? The cat may not be a literal feline. It might be the cat-shaped piece of wood used in the game. The fiddle is the music that accompanied the match played to boost morale and drunken cheer. Sport isn't just a poetic flourish, it's literally the game. And the laughing dog. That's the tavern goers howling with joy, losing themselves in simple pleasure. Even the dish and the spoon have a place in this boisterous world. As the players get too caught up in the game, their dinner still steaming on the table is forgotten. The innkeeper whisks the food away. The dish runs off with the spoon and another pint is poured. But it's more than entertainment. It's preservation. In an era where only the wealthy were literate, rhymes like "Hey diddle diddle" weren't just nonsense. They were mnemonics wrapping oral history and cultural rituals in playful verse. The rhyme captures a moment in time, a glimpse into the communal soul of the English village, where the tavern was church stage and playground all in one. This theory turns the rhyme into a time capsule, not about monarchs or gods, but about ordinary people playing, laughing, and living. It wasn't royal scandal that birthed this rhyme. It was the clink of mugs, the strum of a fiddle, and the thud of a stick hitting wood, echoes of joy preserved in verse. Beneath the icy poise and the steely eyes of Queen Elizabeth, England's virgin queen burned a fire no one dared name aloud, but some whispered and some rhymed. One tantalizing theory suggests, "Hey diddle diddle" isn't just a playful rhyme or an astronomical code. It's a veiled account of forbidden love born behind palace walls, where betrayal meant death and loyalty was currency. The characters in the rhyme, some believe, are not just animals or utensils, but people and powerful ones. Elizabeth herself was nicknamed the Cat, a nod to her elusive nature and her pleasure in toying with ministers and suitors alike. The fiddle, perhaps the music of her court, or more specifically, Robert Dudley, the Earl of Leicester, her rumored lover, whom she affectionately called her little dog. A loyal companion, ever close, ever restrained. And then comes the dish and the spoon, symbols of intimacy, nourishment, and union. In some versions of Tudor court slang, the dish referred to the ceremonial plate-bearer at royal feasts, while the spoon could be a trusted lady-in-waiting, tasked with tasting the queen's food for poison. According to legend, these roles may have been occupied by two real people who defied the rules and fell in love. In the heart of a heavily guarded court, their romance was as bold as it was doomed. But the story grows darker still. The cow jumping over the moon. Some interpret this as a symbol of a bold, impulsive leap, perhaps Catherine Grey's secret marriage to Edward Seymour, carried out in secret and without the Queen's blessing. Elizabeth was furious. She saw it not only as betrayal, but as a threat to her throne, a rival bloodline trying to stake a claim. Both lovers were imprisoned in the Tower of London. Catherine died young, separated from her husband and sons. And all the while, in the shadows of power, love struggled against the iron grip of sovereignty. Could a simple nursery rhyme have survived as a ghost of this passion? Could the rhyme be a poetic echo of secrets the crown tried to erase? It's a possibility too delicious to ignore, one that turns spoons and dogs and fiddles into a tragic symphony of power, love, and loss. She was just 18, young, radiant, and dangerously in love. But in Tudor England, falling for the wrong man wasn't just reckless, it was treason. Lady Catherine Grey, sister to the ill-fated Lady Jane Grey, was no stranger to the knife edge of royal politics. As a descendant of Henry VII, her blood alone made her a silent threat to Queen Elizabeth I. But it wasn't ambition that sealed her fate. It was a secret wedding and a night of stolen passion. While the queen prepared for a grand hunting trip, Catherine feigned a toothache. But the real ache was in her heart. In the flickering candlelight of a hidden chapel, she pledged herself to Edward Seymour, the Earl of Hertford. Their love was pure, their union was real, and their decision was fatal. When Elizabeth returned to court, rumors stirred like storm clouds. Catherine's pregnancy could no longer be concealed. Her secret was out, and the queen was livid. Not only had Catherine married without royal permission, but she now carried a child who could by blood challenge Elizabeth's throne. She was thrown into the Tower of London. So was Hertford. Separately, mercilessly. There in the cold and silence, Catherine gave birth to their first son. Guards moved by the couple's devotion allowed secret visits. Against all odds, a second son followed, born in the tower, a symbol of forbidden love and defiance. But fairy tales rarely survive the real world. When word of the second child reached Elizabeth, her wrath boiled over. The lovers were torn apart this time for good. Hertford was fined the modern equivalent of $4.5 million. Catherine was left to rot in isolation. Her health declined. Her spirit broke. At age 27, she died alone, her final plea to see her husband unanswered. Their love never stood a chance. Yet in its tragic brevity, it burned brighter than courtly alliances or dynastic schemes. It was the kind of story that poems are written about, or perhaps rhymes. Could the dish ran away with the spoon be the poetic echo of their doomed elopement? A spoonful of tenderness swallowed by a merciless crown in the quiet lines of a nursery rhyme, perhaps their love still lives hidden, whispered eternal. Before Hey Diddle Diddle danced across nursery walls and bedtime rituals, it whispered through the quills of poets and playwrights. Its meaning shrouded its presence undeniable. The rhyme, now dismissed as child's play, was once embedded in the coded language of Renaissance literature. In 1569, English dramatist Thomas Preston penned a curious line in a now-forgotten play, "They be at hand, sir, with stick and fiddle. They can play a new dance called Hey Diddle Diddle," a throwaway reference, or a veiled nod to a rhyme already woven into the cultural fabric of Elizabethan England. Either way, it proves something chilling. This wasn't just a child's song. It was a cipher in plain sight. Jump forward to 1597. Scottish poet Alexander Montgomery wrote The Cherry and the Sleigh, where he mocked human ambition. Since you think it an easy thing to mount above the moon of your own fiddle, take a spring and dance when you have done. Again, the echoes appear, moon-leaping fiddles, playing a sense of absurdity, masking deeper metaphor. Both texts predate the first printed version of the modern rhyme by over a century. Yet the elements, the moon, the fiddle, the dance, all emerge fragmented like clues in a literary scavenger hunt. These references suggest that Hey Diddle Diddle wasn't born in a nursery, but in the dark corners of satire, rebellion, and veiled commentary. In an age where open criticism of royalty or church could mean death rhyme, became resistance. Playful words, when read with the right eyes, could cut sharper than swords. Could this be why so many early references disguise the rhyme within riddles and ridicule? It's as if the rhyme evolved through centuries, like a linguistic chameleon, shifting shape to survive, to entertain, to subvert. A melody for children, a mockery for adults, a message for the brave. When we trace these early appearances, we're not just collecting footnotes. We're uncovering a trail of linguistic breadcrumbs that lead back to a world of hidden meanings and cultural subversion. Hey Diddle Diddle may seem like nonsense, but its earliest footprints tell a different story. One of survival, symbolism, and secret knowledge passed on through generations, line by line, riddle by riddle. The true genius of Hey Diddle Diddle lies not in its simplicity, but in its refusal to be explained. For every theory that claims to crack its code, another rises to challenge it. It's as if the rhyme itself is a mirror reflecting the obsessions and anxieties of every era it passes through. One moment, it's a celestial calendar encoded for medieval farmers, a mnemonic star map wrapped in whimsy. The next, it's a political allegory dripping with betrayal and royal scandal. Catherine of Aragon, Queen Elizabeth, Lady Catherine Grey, all entangled in its cryptic imagery. Then it shifts again, hinting at pub games, musical rituals, or even romantic affairs whispered through Tudor palaces. There are theories tying it to ancient Greek phrases. Others claim it's an ode to Egyptian gods. Some scholars argue it was never meant to mean anything, that it's pure linguistic nonsense beloved for its rhythm and absurdity. And yet, if that were true, why does it continue to haunt us? Why do we still ask what the cat and fiddle really mean? Why does the image of a cow leaping over the moon still tickle the back of our minds? Because something about it feels older than ink and parchment, like a dream passed down through generations, carrying fragments of forgotten truths. Folklore, after all, survives not by being accurate, but by being adaptable. The most powerful myths are not those with one clear meaning, but those that open 1,000 doors. Hey Diddle Diddle has become exactly that, a folkloric Rorschach test, where each generation sees something new, something personal, something eerily familiar. And that perhaps is the point. Maybe this rhyme was never designed to be solved. Maybe it was meant to be a living thing, growing, mutating, whispering different secrets to those who dared to listen closely. A tune for children, a code for rebels, a relic of a forgotten rite, or maybe just a joke that got out of hand. In the end, Hey Diddle Diddle stands not as a puzzle to be cracked, but as a mystery to be experienced. A reminder that sometimes the power of a story lies not in the answer, but in the question that never stops echoing. Perhaps the most fascinating thing about Hey Diddle Diddle isn't what scholars say about it, but what you think. Because in the end, this strange, ageless rhyme has survived not through academic consensus, but through curiosity, through wonder, through the power of speculation. It's not just a nursery rhyme, it's a riddle that invites you to play. Was the cat a queen who lost her throne? Was the fiddle the music of rebellion? Is the dish and spoon a secret affair, or just a whimsical metaphor for joy? You decide. And that's exactly what makes this tale so addictive. It pulls you in, dares you to make connections, to see patterns in the nonsense, to imagine meaning behind every moon leap and giggle. This is the magic of folklore. It doesn't belong to historians or kings or the dusty shelves of academia. It belongs to you, passed from parent to child, whispered in lullabies, sketched in memory. And as long as you keep asking questions, why did the cow jump? Who was the dish? What was really going on behind the rhyme? The story stays alive. That's why thousands of viewers keep returning to videos like this. Not just to learn, but to wonder. To leave comments, to offer their own theories, to piece together what might be a centuries-old puzzle, or just a beautiful nonsense. Your voice becomes part of the story's evolution. A modern verse to an ancient song. We've seen viewers suggest links to Greek mythology. Some believe it's an astrological clock. Others see Tudor scandals or coded resistance songs. Theories as wild and wonderful as the rhyme itself. And none of them are wrong, because folklore thrives on reinterpretation. So here's your invitation. Don't just watch the mystery, become a part of it. Add your thoughts in the comments. Did one theory resonate with you? Do you have your own hidden interpretation? Could there be something we missed entirely? The rhyme may never give up all its secrets, but maybe that's what makes it eternal. Not the answers, but the shared experience of wondering together. So now we ask you, what do you think "Hey Diddle Diddle" really means? Beneath the whimsical verses of "Hey Diddle Diddle" lies a powerful reminder: never take anything at face value. What seems like nonsense on the surface may carry generations of knowledge, coded warnings, or buried emotions. This nursery rhyme, sung to children for centuries, may have helped farmers read the stars, preserved forbidden love stories, or served as veiled resistance against political injustice. That should make us pause and ask, what truths are we ignoring today, simply because they're wrapped in humor, routine, or tradition? In a world flooded with information, we often dismiss the old, the strange, or the childish as irrelevant. But history shows us that the most profound truths are sometimes hidden in the most unexpected places. Whether it's a story, a joke, or a rhyme, there's value in looking deeper. Especially in today's culture where media soundbites and viral content shape our beliefs. Critical thinking is more important than ever. This rhyme teaches us not just about the past, but about how to read the present. So next time you hear a familiar tale, ask yourself, what's really being said beneath the surface? Because meaning, just like the moon in the rhyme, is often something we must reach for and sometimes leap over. If this video made you rethink everything you thought you knew about Hey Diddle Diddle, don't keep it to yourself. Drop your theory in the comments. We want to hear what you believe the rhyme truly means. If you love unraveling hidden histories and eerie old tales, hit that subscribe button and save this video so you can revisit the clues anytime. And don't forget to ring the bell, because the next rhyme we explore might just blow your mind even more. This journey only gets deeper from here. Let's decode the past together.